What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Today, we got Michael Shelton with interior life painting. That's niching down at its finest. So I assume are you doing any exterior work?
Man, at the moment I'm doing lots of things.
Okay,
so yes, I am doing exterior work.
Okay, tell me the story, man. What brought you here? Tell me a little bit about the business and some areas you're wanting a little bit of perspective on today.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to prepare a little bit ahead of time to be able to give you something to work with. But okay. I'll give you the brief story. I've been doing construction. I got a degree in construction science. And in 2019, I decided to pursue painting. And I was kind of doing some handyman stuff. I had been working project management, project estimating, and some sales for bigger companies. So I decided to do my own thing. I kind of debated back and forth on a couple different names. I landed on interior life painting, set out in fully to do that. I was already doing some work at the time. In 2019, like December. Okay, so COVID hit 2020. Okay. And with the painting thing I was doing, I landed my first big job, the very thing I set out to do. I wanted to be doing high-end cabinets.
Nice.
And from my area anyway. So I got this cabinet job, $26,000, cabinets only, repaint.
Damn.
And the problem is,
brother.
I went in, sold it, but then I'm like, man, I can't perform it. So behind the scenes, the client doesn't know that. Behind the scenes, I'm trying to figure out how am I going to pull this off.
What a great story.
Got to the point where I said, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to pull my people together or some people together to pull this off in a professional way where I can deliver on what I promised. So I'm going to go get this professional guy and sub the job to him.
Okay.
There wasn't enough margin for me to really make anything on it, but at that point I was willing to just call it a wash to honor what I had sold to this client.
Sure.
So that was 2020 and COVID hit right then. So basically I backed off of the job by using COVID as an excuse. So I didn't really make myself look bad. I was like, hey, sorry, there's a lot going on.
Been there.
I backed out of that. But what that did to me was it made me feel like I failed because the very thing I wanted to do, I actually was like, oh, crap, I actually got it. I didn't actually think I could. And then when I got it, I wasn't able to perform it. And it really was very defeating.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's 3 years ago, basically. So since then, I was doing a few jobs still, but I was looking back pretty defeated emotionally and in my mindset. So an old job called on me. They were in a desperate situation basically, and they knew I know the product and I know everything. They said, hey, will you come take over sales for us? So I'm like, sure. I go take over sales, and it was kind of like a relief because I wasn't
didn't
able
have
to
the
handle
pressure of production. It was more so do what you were best at.
Yeah, and I wasn't really ready emotionally for the ups and downs of what business ownership entails.
Sure.
I think that's my analysis. But so I did sales, and then in 2020, I left that job December 2021.
Okay.
And so for the last year, and now we're in 3 months. Year and 3 months, I've been doing my own thing. I built 2 houses, and mostly I was just building the houses. I was going to build one house, make something for that year, and then figure it out. I knew I wanted to do the painting thing, but I wasn't pushing doing painting.
So you were GC-ing 2 builds, pretty much.
Yeah, I bought the lots. I got the loans from the bank. I bought the lots. I handled it all, and I did a lot of the work myself. On these 2 builds, I did all of the painting, interior, exterior, soffits, fascia, brick, cabinets, everything. Just me.
Okay.
Which I don't want to be doing. And then, I also did the trim carpentry on it. And anyways, I did some other trades, all the electrical.
Okay.
And now where I'm at is the beginning of this year, I said, okay, I gotta put myself back out there, and I gotta really go at this thing. I'm having my first baby in a month.
Boy or girl?
Yeah, thank you. It's gonna be a girl.
Congrats. Awesome.
Yeah, so that's, I got a life change going on there.
Big life change. Great time to start a business.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's what I've been doing it.
Sure.
I need to do it more seriously.
Well, let me
Where
ask
I'm
you.
at right now.
Yeah, that's where you're going. I want to kind of know. So tell me where your crossroads are, because I love the story. That helps me a lot. But where's the crossroads right now?
Okay, well, the crossroads, I think a lot of it is in my head. I feel I had had a business before. I had a moving company. So a service-based business, and I did all the sales, all the estimating, managed all the guys, managed the operations, basically. My crossroads now is, as I look back at that experience, I had leads coming in all day.
Yeah.
So right now, I can do the sales if I have the leads. I'm at that crossroads of I haven't fully jumped in. I'm at the point of, do I go all in on the name that I have? I've already got my website. I got Facebook. I am trying to put out content daily. But I'm also getting requests. I'm finishing up a bathroom remodel that I took on for a dear client.
Yeah. So let's kind of break this down.
Remodel. I got this house going on over here, and people are calling me for this kind of stuff, and I'm like, I'm a little by myself. I'm mentally thinking it, but I'm just thinking about it by myself constantly, and I kind of get bogged down.
Yeah. Let's break it down a little bit. So you know, there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, you have these experiences. I wouldn't call them failure. I think failure is far from what you've done. You've built something before in a moving company. You've seen a little bit of what the process looks like. But right now, man, I think, you're worked up over the name, the branding. You're just putting out some posts, and then someone calls you, and you're very reactive. And again, that's through survival. You went from something safe. You had a degree, and you're going the untraditional route. And it's kind of hard because it's like, it's hard to say no to opportunity, especially when you have a child on the way. And it's like, you want to stack as much money as you can. You want to build something. So let's get first the name of your company is very limiting. If you're not going to just do interiors, change it. That's a simple fix. I know you did the branding. You bought the business cards. You got the Facebook. Now's the time to change it, because once you build it, that's the hardest part, is once you create actually a name for yourself. So interior life painting, maybe the mindset was that you were going to do remodels. You were just going to focus interior cabinets. I wouldn't expose yourself to just being an interior company. Think of it this way. If you're a customer in your area that wants the outside of their house painted, and there's 3 companies, Premium Painting, Joe's House Painting Services, and Interior Life Painting, which one are you not calling?
Yeah, you're not calling Interior Life Painting.
Okay, so we don't want to open up the door to missing opportunity. I would rather someone call me and not be able to do it than just not even be in the conversation because they looked at our company's name. So if that doesn't give you any clarification at all, I hope that you think about it deeply, because I know the name is important. It's something that you came up with from whatever reason, but I would think now's the time, brother. Get that name changed, okay? Just to open up the doors for the future opportunity. Second thing I'm seeing here is that, I want to know, what do you have in terms of production resources? Like, who's doing this work besides you? Who would be doing the painting?
Subcontractors.
Do you have a network of them already?
Yeah, I have a network where if I have the jobs, I can walk people in on it that I trust.
You trust? Good, man.
At different levels of,
so then the business. Problem isn't so much production, because I think not only do you have the network, you know what to expect. This is a major benefit on your part. You manage your own house builds. You know what quality looks like. You know what the expectations are. And you being someone building a house, you know that people appreciate good communication. And I think you're going to encompass all that. You also just got done what I believe to be a sales boot camp working for another company. So you've seen what the process was like for a company to rely on another individual that's not the owner of the company to do sales, which many people have not had the experience. You have, which means there's 2 things that you now possess. Number 1, what to do, and number 2, what not to do, especially when you're ready to grow, because a subcontractor-based business in this industry can scale very fast. Okay, so you could really put your knowledge from that last experience. I think of all experiences as a blessing, whether it's what we determined or we thought we were supposed to do or not. So, like, for you to get a job as a salesperson at this painting company, was it a painting company? Was that what it was? A remodel?
No, they were selling basically accessory dwelling units. You build them in a facility. You deliver them to the people's house, handle all the permitting, finish the whole thing out.
So you just saw what that dynamic looked like, right? So in any case, I mean, you're working with hospitals. So where I'm getting at with all this is that the missing component here is really your beliefs about marketing and your strategy behind your marketing. Because we need to affirm a few things before we continue. Number one, do you feel as though that there's any shortage of opportunity right now in the painting industry that would not allow you with proper marketing to be in the ball game? Is that, would you?
Yeah, no, I do. I do have.
So we know that there's opportunity. You feel that there is a shortage.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I did a market analysis on my area to think how hard would it be to get to 2 million and how much market share would I have to have.
No, you're actually saying the opposite, which is actually what I'm asking you to agree on is, do you believe that there's anything stopping you from being called frequently by people that want paint jobs right now? Do you feel like there's people that are making phone calls today in your area to local painting companies that want work done nonstop?
Yeah, but yeah, there are.
Okay, so it's just about how do we get you in the ball game? How do we get you in consideration for this? How do we get your phone to ring? So let me ask you this: when it comes to your marketing, right? You said you started this venture in the beginning of the year. Would you say like early January? Like when did you kick this off?
I'd say January 1, yeah.
Okay. How many jobs have you completed, painting jobs, from that time to now? 2 months.
Just painting jobs?
Just painting.
Maybe 4.
Maybe 4. How did you get those jobs?
Well, I have yard signs out.
Okay.
Surprising. Yeah,
how did you get the job that allowed you to put the yard sign out?
I just stuck them out in the...
you just stuck them out. Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
I got called by the city a couple times, but they were lenient.
Hey, you got to be edgy if you want to be successful.
Right.
Here's the deal. So your strategy was, I would consider that a shotgun approach, right? It worked, but can you guarantee that it's going to work again? Can you repeat that same action and hope that you get a similar result? You can hope, but you can't guarantee. And sometimes we need to use data to do that. So, like, here's the deal. We have what's called passive marketing and aggressive marketing. The difference is money and the approach, really. I mean, you can spend money on yard signs, but that's not targeted. That's just hoping that somebody that just so happens to want a paint job at the exact time you put that yard sign out wants a paint job. We're hoping. That's kind of like sending mailers out if they're not targeted. So we're just hoping. So how do we find people that want paint jobs? And how do we put you there? Do you have any idea of what avenues you might want to look into that you've heard of where people that want painting jobs go?
Yeah, I've looked into Google AdWords and used to run that in the moving company. Just yesterday, I finished the process to get the green check mark on the Google Certified Guarantee Local Service guys. Facebook advertising, door. Okay. I've got my door hangers coming.
How many reviews do you have on Facebook or on Google?
I have 2.
2 reviews. Okay. On Facebook, how much money did you spend on ads?
0.
So you said you did a little bit of advertising on Facebook. Do you just mean just putting out posts?
I didn't say I'd done a little bit of advertising on Facebook. I have done some Google ads with my previous moving company. Yeah, gotcha. was a couple $1,000s a month just in Google ads.
So you've seen what this looks like. Yeah. Got it. And then have you ever played around with lead aggregators like Angie, Thumbtack, any of these? Have you heard of these?
In my previous company we have. I'm the Angie guy calling me, and I actually told him, I said, oh, you know what, let me get back with you on like Wednesday, because I was going to bring that up to you, because I do know that the guys that are doing this business that are really going for it, you have to have lots of, you could call it lead sources, and most of them have to utilize that as well. So I haven't done that yet, but
okay. So when you were,
I'm willing to spend the money.
And when you did Google, did you do that yourself? Did you go through the process of doing all that yourself?
When I have done it in the past, we had someone doing it. Okay,
so you understand that. Okay, good. And you can imagine how much Google changes over time. and how
Yes.
these people who do this for a living probably stay on top of those changes, adjust to those changes, and make sure that whatever you're doing is done in good faith.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I do want to. I do want someone to do it.
So we've talked about 3 avenues here. We have our Google, we have our Facebook, and we have our lead aggregator. In this case, I'm going to use Angie for 2 reasons. One, I use them, and I'm getting leads every day. Okay, and these are people that are qualified. I don't want to waste my time not talking or at least entertaining qualified leads. It's just not something that we need to do. We want only people that are interested in moving forward with a painting job, right? So the first thing is that we want to diversify. That's the big word. It's like you got to look at your company as a sales and marketing company.
100%, I agree.
That just so happens to do painting.
Mm-hmm.
I usually say a customer service company that just so happens to do painting beyond that point, but you get it in terms of your strategy. So the marketing comes first. So in terms of Google, first thing we need to do is we need to identify literally what the opportunity here is. Do you understand that it really would only take you one solid crew of painters with a full schedule, let's say 4 painters, full schedule, to generate about $8,000 a week if sold properly and produced properly? Do you understand that? That's $32,000 a month with a crew of 4 in sales. If optimized, that means you did a good job of selling at a good margin and they did a good job of producing at a quick rate. Okay? Mm-hmm. So generally speaking, and that could be on the low end in some areas it can be in the high end. But generally speaking, our opportunity with sometimes 4 jobs, if we get an $8,000 job a week, which is usually a full interior repaint, maybe a big exterior, or maybe double that, 16 jobs, or 8 jobs, which is 2 jobs a week, right? So we're looking at finding 8 jobs, right? So what I like to do is reverse engineer this, Mike. Okay, I want to reverse engineer. How the heck do I get to 8 jobs? Okay, so let me ask you this, right? So what would you say your closing rate is on interior, exterior painting estimates?
The leads that I get right now, it's going to be a very high close rate because they're the type of people that are calling me because they know me.
And they know you. But generally speaking, be fair. Just give me a low end closing rate.
I'd say 40%.
40%. Okay. Yeah, so how do we get to 8? How do we get to 8 customers? Well, that means that we need to have a 40%. So that would be if we were at 50%, that means we need to do 16 bids. So you actually need to do about 18 bids to get to 8 jobs, ideally saying that each job has an average job size of about $4,000. Okay. Generally speaking, I'm being vague here, but you get the idea. So how do we get to 18 leads? Okay. Well, we have to look at what these are 18 appointments. How do we get to 18 appointments? So we have to look at set rate, right? This is how we determine what our ratio is from lead to appointment, okay? So on average, especially when you're using lead aggregators or you're using, things like that, you want to be at about, obviously anything higher than this is good, but let's say 25% of the time. So in other words, you get 4 leads, only one of them books an appointment with you, okay? Now, here's the deal. You can do long-term nurturing of these leads and then generate leads from January and finally get an appointment in March. Your follow-up strategy is so important in terms of this as well. But let's just say we're doing it on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so if we look at 18 times 4, we're looking at 72 leads. Okay, so let me ask you this, right? So let's say, and these are low numbers, Michael, just bear with me here. Okay, so let's say 72 leads generate us 18 appointments. Those 18 appointments generate us 8 jobs. You follow me so far?
Yep.
All right, good. 72 leads on average. Let's say each lead from Angie is $100. Okay, that's $100. That's a high end, depending, but generally speaking, that's fair. You're giving you an opportunity to paint full house repaints, exteriors, full house repaints. So you would look to spend about $7,200. Now, with that said, okay, our aim here is to maximize, right? And I'm just saying you have one crew generating $8,000 a week, and what we're looking at is about a $32,000 month, okay? So if we subtract $32,000 from our $7,200, that gives us $24,000 to play with, okay? Now, generally speaking, when you subcontract work, you're usually at about a 50% margin. Okay? Would you agree with that? Whenever you've subcontracted work, you're generally at about 50% gross profit margin.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in this case, would you say that you provide paint and materials for your subcontractors, or do you put that liability on them?
Well, if it's at a 50%, then yeah, I'm doing it.
You're providing the paint to them if it's at a 50%.
Yeah, I'm going to be providing the paint if the labor's 50%.
So if all in, it's costing you 50% to produce this work, okay, you've just netted $12,000 in pure profit outside of your marketing costs and your labor costs. From there, you have some overhead, of course, but we're looking at it like this, okay? The idea here is that how comfortable can we get with spending a ton of money on leads to generate a ton more money and to create a perpetual lead nurturing machine that produces paint jobs. And that's the key. The key is, can you build enough confidence? And here's the deal. If you did that in 1 month, and again, these numbers are low. You could have a $40,000 month and convert way more leads. I mean, these numbers are extremely low. This is worst case scenario where you're spending $7,000 to generate $32,000. Okay. And this is just with one lead source. But here's the idea behind this, Michael, is that the quicker you get comfortable with the initial investment, the easier it's going to be going forward, because you need ROI to justify the forwarding expense. So next month, what happens is, okay, well, wow, I made 12 grand this month and I didn't lift a finger. I just sold some jobs. Okay. Hello. Well, guess what? I just recouped all my money because $32,000 is now in my bank. Obviously, I have to pay everybody and I have to pay my lead generator. But guess what I'm going to do? Do it again. And then now I'm going to get another crew. And then I'm going to double what I did and do it again and do it again. And then, of course, that's how you expand. So I don't know if I told you anything you don't know. I don't think that's the case. But I think what I am trying to do here is build some confidence in the fact that, you know, sometimes these lead aggregators, although they're high cost in leads, you're at least talking to qualified people. And early on, with 2 reviews on Google, hardly any Facebook presence, and no one managing your Google listing, you need opportunities that are ready to buy in order to kick off this machine. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's correct.
In terms of the initial investment, I mean, where do you find yourself feeling comfortable? I mean, in terms of buying leads. I mean, I don't know if you've done this. You said you did do this with moving companies.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I feel comfortable with it because the way I see it is, if I don't want to be as labor intensively as I am involved as I am now, the only option is to reach a different level of revenue. And so I understand that takes cost. And I mean, I looked at it, starting the whole thing, doing, you know, everything with a van, getting everything wrapped, doing everything, even with a $5,000 a month marketing budget, we were 20-something thousand.
Dude, none of that
so,
matters.
Yeah,
honestly, I wouldn't get too caught up in the van getting wrapped, the logo, the branding. Dude, none of that matters right now. Yeah. It really doesn't. I think the only thing that matters is, can you sell and produce paint jobs? My first year in business, I was in a Honda Accord Gray, and we did 400,000 in sales. You know, and no one cares. Like, and this isn't to you personally. Generally speaking, no one cares about a painting company's brand. Like, you run into someone into Best Buy, or you say, hey, you know, painting companies, like, dude, like, no one knows you. No one cares. They only care when they need you. And then it's not like Apple or Walmart or anything like that. So, like, don't get too caught up in branding. That's not going to matter early on. What matters is getting reps and learning the process of taking in a painting lead, which is different than a moving lead, taking in that painting lead and nurturing that lead to the point where they become a sale, you know. But in any case, if you wanted my validation, which I appreciate on the Angie leads, I think it's a good move. I think you have nothing to lose. I think you should negotiate the yearly fee. That's something you can always do. They're going to hit you with a one-time fee. You know, play hard to get.
What's the best you've seen that negotiated to?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. And great. On top of that, credits to get started. You know, say, you know, I mean, you just use your negotiation power on that, you know, play hard to get them for what they're worth. I don't know why they charge that. They're going to make so much on the actual lead itself. It doesn't really matter. But the reality is that, you know, you're going to set a budget with them. And I think, like, again, it just takes reps. I think if you focus on 3 things, I would say, number 1, you want a Google guy. You don't want to be doing anything Google related yourself unless you really have the time, energy, and effort to learn the ins and outs of this thing, because it's no joke. I've tried and played around with it, but like, it's complex. It's just something that I feel like someone that specializes in would just really take that off your shoulders and do it right and make sure that you're prepared for growth. Second thing is you should get 25 reviews by June. Like, that should be a goal for you. 25, like 5-star reviews, at least 25. And by the end of the year, you should have 75. And I don't know if it's going to be an incentive for you, but literally everyone that you've ever worked for, reach out to them. Like, Google reviews are the golden egg in business. And I'm telling you right now, as more companies start to recognize this, which is starting to happen, the median in our industry is going to change. If you go to a restaurant, you're going to see restaurants with 1,000 reviews now, 2,000, like the numbers are high. But in painting, if you were to Google painting companies in your area, have you done that yet?
Yeah.
How many reviews is the highest? Do you know?
The highest is a franchise, and they're at 150. I don't know if that's local or franchise-wide, but...
Okay. Yeah. And what's the second one, like in terms of local guys?
It's probably not over 100.
Not over 100?
Maybe.
So it's attainable, but the goal is that you should want to get to, in that range. And I'm not saying the amount of reviews matters. It's just saying that, you just want to be within that, in that range, because once you get to a point, and here's where I'm getting with all this. Once you get to the point in this industry where you've bought a bunch of leads, you've gotten your name out there, you've refined your production process, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to have reps. Right now is a wasted day that your sub crew could be working on a job for you to be able to see if they're worth keeping, if they need training, if they're, the type of crew that's going to keep your business in business for a long time, right? It's going to give you reps in terms of how to sell properly or how to work on your margins and just continuously build confidence so you can reject those bath and remodel jobs, reject the woodworking and trim jobs. Maybe if you want to do them on the side while your sub crews are working, go for it, bro. But I'm talking about business niching down, and then ultimately at the end of this, the goal is for your Google listing to be an organic just sponge, which should balance out the ad spend. But it's heavy early on, and then that ad spend should taper down as the year goes on, unless you're just hyper growing and you just double down on your ad spend.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. I feel like there's definitely a couple things that I wasn't thinking of, but it's thinking it through all on my own. It just kind of gets jumbled. It's like, I have all the pieces. A lot of what you said, I have all the pieces, but I analyze it a lot to where
the sub model's kind of hard, man. Can I just make a side note here about the sub model?
No, I'm totally open to.
Can I give you some
models
insight here about at least my thoughts on it? You're on an island right now, Michael. That's the problem. The problem is that you have a sub crew that doesn't care if you call them or not. They're going to find work somewhere else, right? I mean, ultimately, like, you don't have any sort of pressure that says, I need to keep my sub crew busy right now, at least, right?
Correct.
Okay. So because you have no pressure, right? You're missing out on urgency. And these are innate like things that we possess that get us to fight or flight. Like, I've got to find a job, or else Shamel, Dan Jr., and Jeremy won't have work Monday. And it's like that sort of push, honestly, at least for me, has helped me get to the level that I am, which I'm very happy with. I mean, we have 3 full-time crews. We're very, but because I have that push. Now, I'm not saying you can't develop those relationships with your subs, but ultimately, like, I think the employee model is a really good way to get started. And I think the reason why that is because maybe you find 1 or 2 guys and, you just make it a focus early on to keep those 2 guys busy. And maybe you do get some overflow and then you bring in the sub, but at the end of the day, you have a constant. And what that constant is 2 things. Number one, you can easily build a culture. A culture is really important, Michael, because again, you are big on branding, and I know you care about this stuff, and please don't take it the wrong way when I say it's not important early on. It is to a degree, but it's not the biggest focus. Biggest focus is getting reps. But I'm just saying the culture aspect, number one, gives you the control. It gives you the ability to tweak things. It lets you jump in on the job when necessary and then get out. You're creating a much better experience. And I'm bringing this up because you were out of control before COVID, and you told me that was extremely defeating. Okay? That could happen again with a sub crew. and you're technically not going to be able to jump in on a sub crew and start helping and fixing things and being a part of the process. It's just, you don't do that, right? But with your employees, if something is going wrong, you can go in and fix it. You can be a part of the team, and you can build a relationship with your guys. At least that's my thoughts, you know, and I think you'll notice that the margins are a little bit better. The hard part is the barrier to entry. It's finding these guys, and it can start with one person, you know. So just an idea, man. I just think that if you're open to it, I wouldn't completely close off the employee model, because, again, if you're buying leads, you have nothing to worry about. You're going to find the work. So it's not a matter of, you know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I agree with you in a lot of ways. I mean, I did all employees with this moving company, and it was great. I don't feel hampered to be able to source good talent. I don't feel like that's a hang up for me. It's feeling, because I have other open projects right now that I actually do need help on, but it's not, I don't feel like I can hire, hey, even if just a painter or someone even just with good character, because I would be asking them to do tons of random stuff. Well,
you wouldn't, like, the goal here, I think the strategy would be, you need to finish those projects yourself. Mm-hmm. You're in it, finish them. And this painting thing is a separate entity, you know, completely. You know, do not ask them to be a part of these extra projects. It's not their responsibility, and that's not what they're applying for. You want a painter, you know, and it starts with, and you've already done this. Usually I tell people to do this. Sell the job first, figure it out later. You did that with a $26,000 cabinet job. You're crazy. You know, you've done it. I don't think it gets any worse than that. I think painting a few bedrooms and telling Joanne it'll be starting in 2 weeks and then taking 2 weeks to find your guy is a lot less pressure than whatever that kitchen looked like. I bet it was immaculate, you know. But I love that. I think that shows that you got what it takes, man. I don't think you're missing anything here, but just strategy. Do not mix these two things. Whatever projects you got going on, which I don't even want to know about, because I bet it's stressful, because it's all these remodeling stuff, and cash flow is tricky over there, because it's just, you know, I'm sure you just took what you had to do, but that doesn't stop you from starting this painting side and keeping it clean, and then fizzle out your jobs. While you're doing that, you're selling paint jobs, paint jobs, paint jobs, paint jobs. Do not take anything else. If you target, and this is another reason why aggregators are good, because you can actually target what type of jobs you want. Like, you can tell it. Interior painting, 3 bedrooms or more. Exterior painting, that's it. And if you get anything outside of that, you get a lead, you get a credit for the lead. So that's the cool part, is it keeps you honest at the very least. So you know what type of customer you're getting. They're interested. You know what type of job.
I like that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense in my mind, to where I can get all that going, get the leads, book them out, however, 3 weeks from now, instead of saying,
dude, you've done this,
and then feel the gun to go out and get something.
You'll have
in a matter of days.
You'll have the push.
Different.
You need the push. You need the push. You need the job pulling you to hire. You need the employee pulling you to keep finding these jobs. That external push is so valuable in business. It's underrated, dude. I have 12 of them pushing me right now. And it's okay. I need that pressure. I don't take my foot off the gas. I know every week I got to get moving. I got to make sure appointments are being done, sales are being done. And that's how you create a business. I can honestly say, if I were in your position, I would not nearly be as motivated, given the fact that you have so much pressure around you with these other jobs, given the fact that even personally you have a lot of pressure. Like, there's just not enough motivation to carry me, at least, into that painting space, unless I have a strategy, which I believe is to sell a job, get the leads. First of all, you're going to have pressure to sell the job because the leads cost money. You're going to want to convert that. Then when you get there, you're going to want to sell the job because you have a plan to get a new employee. Maybe you've already ran ads and you're starting to do interviews. You can start that process today. I would go on Indeed, put together an ad, at least get some feelers out, see who's out there, set up the Angie leads, get some estimates going, and then, dude, you just time it, you know, and maybe you're a part of that first job with that guy to see how they work, and then you taper off. If you notice they can handle it, you leave the job and go do your thing, and then sell another one. Hire another guy, build a team of 2, and then take it easy for a while, right? Like, you don't need to scale immediately, organically and slowly. You're going to learn so much more.
Yeah, no, that's great. Oh, that's helpful for sure to bounce it off.
I hope it helps, man. I'd like to see you go the employee route. I think you're an employee guy. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I like that. That sounds really good. Obviously, okay, so I'm hiring skilled painters as opposed to people
Initially,
that,
you need
yeah,
somebody that
initially,
has some experience, but I think,
right,
again, don't set them up for failure. If you have a moderately skilled painter, there's a lot of painters that don't know how to spray because whoever they work for just never let them do it, so maybe you only take jobs where there's no sprayer required. I didn't take interior work for 6 months because I didn't want anyone to make a mistake inside. I did all exterior work, but I was able to do that because I got to select what type of leads I got, you know. So that's an option for you as well.
okay. Just because I know that I could wind on this particular topic for far too long. So with the name, I'm 100% cool to change it. I don't feel confident about it anyways. I'm
Sure.
focused on interior life. That the idea was,
Yeah,
I was trying to put too much personal into it because it was about, helping our inner life as well as we're painting, but then you don't
I
need to
like
mix
the
those two.
thought.
Yeah, I like the thought too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what I got. I got other domains already purchased.
What do you got?
And I got Shelton's Painting,
Okay.
pretty standard. That's my last name.
The hometown
Uh,
team.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I didn't do it because
Yeah, but
it
what
felt
else you
small,
got?
but
What else you got?
yeah. The other one was not just painting related, but it was going to be something like Shelton's Home Improvements, where I'm
Ah, please stay away
saying
from
more
that,
than
dude.
just the
Please
painting.
don't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because what that does is it keeps your foot. It doesn't close the door. It just keeps the door cracked with your foot out to let anything else come in. And then, dude, that trickle down effect on that, it doesn't keep you honest to the goal. Paint jobs, paint jobs, paint jobs, paint jobs. Like, dude, that's it. That's all we want to seek for.
Yeah.
So you have those two options. Anything else?
Yeah, I have those two that I already
Okay.
own.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I could do I could do elephant painting. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, I think, if there's another decision maker in your family who you value their opinion, the beautiful part of the name, man, it's so important, man. It's the culture, man. It is the life, new life. I mean, you're having a baby, maybe you work her name into it, or you do something unique there that could be a family legacy for you. But take a little time. I mean, I'm sure you can come up with something, but I would definitely change it, bro, just for the simple fact that you don't want to confuse your marketplace. That's all.
100% gotcha.
I'd love to see you take on exterior work in the next year and interior work because it's two businesses that mesh very well together.
Yeah, no, it was I never intended to
I know,
differentiate
but
in
I
that
see
way.
what you were trying to do. It was kind of creative. Yeah, it was good, man. So maybe keep me updated. I'd love to hear how you progress, bro. I hope, was this helpful?
Yeah, no, it definitely was helpful. It helps me bounce it off and hear from someone else that kind of already knows the types of things that are in my head. It's another person to say, hey, have you thought about this? Are you looking at this? And, here's some things to focus on. So, yeah, no, definitely helpful.
Yeah, remember, the goal here in the next 30 days is to test this theory. Get the ads, sell the job, get a guy to do the job, and then from there, you'll really have some confidence going into the next direction. But right now, you're just kind of at a standstill. So that's kind of what the issue is, I see.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay, I'm going to pull the trigger on some of these things and
keep me updated, man. I'd love to hear about it.
Going. Okay, Tanner. Yeah, thanks so much. I really
Take
appreciate
care of
it.
yourself. Good luck, man, and congrats on the baby, man. God bless you and your family.
Yes.
See ya.
All right.